Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeff, and you are joining us again in the Schwa Mill, a show here on Fluent American where we take a look at your pronunciation and give some suggestions in terms of pronunciation vowel sounds, consonant sounds, linking, reductions, stress, intonation, everything related to American English pronunciation. Let me know in the chat how you guys are doing today. If it's your first time with us, then be sure to let us know because we're always excited to see some new people. We hope that you feel encouraged and inspired to send us some audio files. Okay. And maybe you've watched us hundreds of times in the past before. It would also be great to hear from you as well. And maybe you've watched hundreds of times, but you've never said anything. Well, maybe today will be a little bit different. We would love to hear from you. Okay. So I want to say hey to some quick people. I don't know if Veer is still here, but hello to Veer. Thanks for checking in. Emmanuel is here as well, which is great. Timur, I'm not familiar with you. It's great to see you. Hopefully you sent us a pronunciation file, maybe. If you're brave, let us know how you're feeling today. Mimo is back. Hello to Mimo. And Pravjat's back as well. I am good. How are you guys doing? Let me know, guys, what's happening this weekend. What are some things that you are up to? I know my wife has organized a get together, so we're expecting some friends to stop by right around the time when my son goes to sleep. So we'll try to navigate that. Okay. Um, oh man, Emmanuel, I'll cheer you up. Oh no, what happened? Was it a hard week this week? It's good to see you, man. We'll hope to keep things light and happy. Yeah, Mimo says first time here after 20. Mimo took a little bit of a break, but it's good to see you back. Oh, no, that was Nameless and Faceless. I was about to say, Mimo, I thought he was here, but I was just reading the wrong message. Nameless and Faceless is back. Riddick is here as well. Riddick's been talking to me a lot recently, which is great. It's always good to hear from people. And Emmanuel's not feeling great. Oh, no. If you guys can in the chat box say, Emmanuel, feel better, just let him know. We're here to support. Okay. Maybe you're new to the stream and you're like, okay, this sounds interesting. I want to send some pronunciation files, but I'm not sure how. Well, I want to show you some things that are going to be helpful. Give me 1 second. Let's show you what this looks like. So this is Vocaroo, but this is the document where you can actually start submitting your own pronunciation files. This is what it looks like. Okay, to get here, put this in the chat box. You can also find it in the video description too. Okay, so you want to send in your own files. Okay, this is where you want to go. You're going to see you put in your name if you'd like to, or if you want to stay anonymous, you can. You're going to see that everyone's posted these links, and I'll show you what that looks like in a moment. And then you can also put in the text of what you say. So that way I can basically, if there's in case I have trouble understanding or things like that for whatever reason, we know what words you're saying. So that way there's no issues there or anything like that. Okay, so you can put that here. And it's going to send you to vocabulary.com. When you go to vocabulary.com, you're going to see the ability to record yourself. Once you record yourself, you're going to see a screen. It kind of looks like this, where you have a link down here at the bottom. You can then put that link over here, and I'll be able to see it. And we'll be able to get you some feedback on your pronunciation and things. We'll talk about some other opportunities too, in case you want some pronunciation practice during the week. Maybe you don't have time for a class, or it's not something that's feasible in terms of money situations. We'll talk about some opportunities that we have as well that can help you out in that regard. Other things here. Oh no, Emmanuel, it finally got him. You had a good run, man. That actually happened to me. My wife and I caught COVID for the first time a couple of weeks ago. It wasn't too crazy. The vaccines actually made made me more sicker than the actual virus did, which I guess is the intention. But yeah, the new variants that are out just seem to be finding everybody that it hadn't found before. You know, so you're certainly not alone. Hopefully, it's nothing too crazy, nothing too serious. Maria is new. Hello to Maria. Hope to see you around the channel more often, especially our live streams. If you're feeling encouraged or inspired, it would be great to hear from you. Okay. Mimo sending some kind words over to Manuel, as we all hope. And Shok is saying hello as well. Shok gives us a little bit more singing. Always love when people sing for us. Shook has such a nice voice, so it's great. Okay, trying to think of other housekeeping things. Be sure again if you're trying to practice things like reductions, you may like one of our last videos, which focused on a concept called contractions. Because one thing that a lot of people are doing when they're English learners is they are not using contractions. So if you're not saying things like theirs or there or there'll, or like for instance I'm or were, or things like that, or maybe you are using contractions but you're not pronouncing them in the most natural way, be sure to take a look at our channel. This is the most recent video because that's going to help you out, get you sounding more natural. Okay. Oh no, 102 fever Fahrenheit, I hope. Otherwise you would not be here, I'm guessing. But yeah, my son had a temperature of like 104. So what's that, like 41, 42 degrees, maybe a little bit more than that. That was pretty high. Yeah, it can certainly be very stressful for getting COVID. Everyone has different symptoms. It's crazy. Like for me, I was just really congested. It felt like a sinus infection. For other people, like my wife, she was exhausted. She was tired for like 2 weeks. She would just go to bed at like 8 o'clock every day. She also had like hip pain, which is interesting. Anyone got COVID twice? Yeah, let us know. I mean, who is the record holder for the most times with COVID? Who got the virus the most? Anyways, let me know in the chat if you've had it before, if you've had experience. Also, if you've never had it, let us know in chat too, because we want to give you some nice respects and somehow you're evading everything. Yes. Yes, I had some. Let's see. Everyone had COVID. Yeah, everyone does. Everyone had it. New look a little bit. I had some swag come in, including, check this out. Oh my gosh. Because you guys are here in the Schwab house. Now we even got little cups and things. Isn't that cute? Okay. Yeah, I know some neighbors that had some people that passed away from it. Yeah, so it's definitely a serious thing. Although the latest variants in general don't seem to be as bad. I don't know in terms of the deaths and hospitalizations that I've seen, but I could be way wrong. Anyways, you guys didn't come here for all that. You guys came here for getting some feedback for your pronunciation. So let's kind of just run through what is about to happen. Oh, let me add myself there, right? Again, it's not little, it's more little.
The G host was class.
Are you feeling that here, or here? All right, so you're going to see I have some headphones on now, so that way I can hear you. I'm going to share my screen and share my audio, so that way you can hear what I hear and see what I see. So let's get right into it. And of course, as we're going through this, if you have a question about pronunciation, English, life, even relationship advice, you can post those questions in the chat box, and we will do our best to get you situated. Emmanuel, I am pressing the share system audio button because I know that last time we had some issues. Okay. So these are all the files I have right now. I'll be honest, a little bit brief today. Maybe we'll end early. I don't know, unless you guys are going to send me some files, unless there's some things you guys want to keep discussing. Usually we go at random. I think we have enough time to get through everybody, so that's always exciting. Okay. So let's start off a 1 second file. Well, let's see how in depth I can get. 1 second. I'm gonna share an audio. Let's take a look.
It's a piece of cake.
Okay, we'll play again.
It's a piece of cake.
Piece of cake. Piece of cake. Okay.
It's a piece of cake.
Yeah, so I want to make sure again we're saying, let's say a piece of cake. It's a piece of cake. It's a piece of cake. Cool. Let's make sure so everyone is aware of that. Let us see. Oh, I always forget to say. I think it's this one.
It's a piece of cake.
It's a piece of cake. Okay, so one thing I like that you're really reducing the it's, which is great. That's what you want to do.
It's a piece of.
Do that. That's just how it starts. He's not saying it's. He's saying it's a piece of cake, and that's a very natural progression. It's pronouns in general do get reduced, not usually very strong. Okay, so that's a very natural way of doing that.
It's a piece of cake.
It's a piece of cake. Pizza cake. So the one thing I will say that I think let's listen to the A sounds again.
It's a piece of cake.
It's a piece of cake. Okay, by the way, I'm going to try to write down timestamps. If someone wants to help me out in the chat box, one thing you can do is every time I start on a new person, can you just write the time down for me? And I'll try to remember myself, but it just makes it easier for when I'm doing timestamps later. So right now we're about right at like, I think it started like 9:42. You guys want to help me? I want to hear the A sound.
It's a piece of cake.
Piece of cake, piece of cake. I wonder if you're a little tense
It's a
here.
piece of cake.
Piece. Can you say peace? Just see if you can get a little bit more air through. I don't think the way you're saying it is wrong. I'm just saying that this can be something that is helpful. It's just getting a little bit more air through to give you a slightly more natural sound. It's like instead of peace, more peace. Peace. Can you hear a difference between those? Okay, so just one thing's there.
It's a piece of cake.
Same thing with cake. Can you just say A? I would say, can you say A like 3 times? Like A. And see if you can join them together, right? Notice I'm not saying A. No, we're trying to join them together, right? It's like A. It's like piece of cake. Okay. And that's just something that can be helpful for trying to keep the air flowing, okay? To make sure that we're connecting things. You know, a lot of students come asking me about linking and things like that. And one of the most immediate ways you can make things sound linked is just to make sure that your vowels are going from one word to the next without a break. So say piece of cake, more piece of cake, piece of cake. Another thing you can do too is just pronounce the vowel sounds. Remove the consonants. So instead of saying piece of cake, you do e a, and then you can add the consonants back. So like piece of cake, a, piece of cake, a, piece of cake, things like that, just to help with that progression. Because that's one option you can do. Okay. It's a piece of cake. It's a piece of cake. Yeah. Emmanuel asking about stress. Yes, you do want to put the stress on cake. Great question there. Okay. Piece of cake. So I would like the vowels just to stand out a little bit more. Beyond that,
It's a piece of cake.
piece of cake. Yeah, I do think your stress is actually probably a little heavier on piece when you could put on more cake. It's a piece of cake. Piece of cake. You put your heavier stress on cake. But I would say that in general, I do think your pitches are very similar to each other. It's like e. So it's like e. So you got the somewhat high, then a low, then a high again.
It's a piece of cake.
Okay. And in general, in English, where English is obsessed with contrast, it wants things to stand out and be really separate from each other. So one thing you can do is if cake is your stress word, you could raise that pitch a little higher. So like piece of cake. It's a piece of cake. You know, instead of piece of cake, more piece of cake. You know, so I would just increase the variety of pitches that you're using to also give you a slightly more natural sound. Okay. But I think those are the main things I have for that file. Hopefully that makes sense. It's a super short sentence. It's not a whole lot necessarily to look at, but I do think that will give you some things to kind of keep in mind. I do think you have some linking going on. It's like pizza and things. Just some things to consider. Okay, but thank you for sending that file. I do appreciate it. If you have some other questions, be sure to let me know. No, I missed some things in the chat. Okay. And this from Mimo. Last week was good. Breaking down our pronunciation. Yeah, cool. So I will be honest. The goal of the contraction video was not to provide in-depth breakdowns. It was more just to give exercises, kind of just again like our workout series, to just give you lots and lots of things to practice with. If you are interested in contractions and you're looking for more in-depth practice with them, something that you want to consider. If you go to the channel, we have hopefully you can see the search tab. If you type in contractions over here, you have to be able to spell contractions. That's always the first thing. Okay. This is the one once it loads. Okay. Avira says you aren't using contractions, start now. This is going to go over some more details about some of the specific things you want to keep in mind for contractions with this video here. Okay, so I will be honest, the also this one above can do that too. Okay, but the last video I made, the goal isn't, unfortunately, it's not really to break down how to pronounce these sounds, just to give you exercises that you can use for repetition. Okay, so I do apologize for that, but I get the comment. We mentioned cake. You know, man, we're just trying to look fly over here. We're just trying to do what we can. All right. What is next? One down. Oh, this is a long one. Oh my god. Let's save that. 4 seconds. It's about manageable.
Don't make promises you can't keep. Reputation means a lot.
Okay, Danny. I'll squeeze in like 2 sentences in here. Here's this phrase that we're going to be taking a look at today. Okay.
Don't make promises you can't keep. Reputation means a lot.
Okay. The very first thing that jumps out to me.
Don't make promises you can't keep.
Don't make promises you can't keep. Your keep is coming off very strong. So I notice you're paying attention to stress, which is great. Just a quick while break. Like what you're hearing, let us know by liking and subscribing. Okay, so that's good. Do pay attention to stress. I think that's perfect. Thank you, Mimo. Keep note on time, so at 15. Make promises you can't keep.
Don't make promises you can't keep.
Make promises you can't keep. Your stress on keep is just so heavy, especially compared to the other words in your sentence.
Don't make promises you can't keep.
Don't make promises you can't keep. So I would say let's try to. I understand you want to raise the pitch. I totally get that. But at the same time, there's kind of a balance to this, right? Because you can certainly overstress words. And I think that's kind of what we're happening here. It's like super forceful, like you can't keep, versus you can't keep. You can't keep. As long as we're raising that pitch, we don't have to like force the sound out too strongly. So we're going to try to weaken that a little bit. Don't make promises you can't keep. Don't make promises you can't keep. One thing you can kind of do too is start preparing for your stressed word right before it. It's like can't keep. So notice that can't, it starts at a lower pitch and then it's going to kind of start your climb up to get us to keep. It's like you can't keep, can't keep, can't keep. Okay. So that's just one sort of movement that I think you can do that will help give you a little bit more natural sound. It's going to help link the pitches together so that way they're not sounding so disconnected. It's going to make it sound a little bit less forced when you get to your stress. So that's the very first thing that kind of jumps out to me. Other things.
Don't make promises you can't keep.
Don't make promises you can't keep.
Don't make promises.
Don't. Your O sound could be slightly stronger. It's like don't make. That's kind of like don't. Like how do you say don't? How are you saying don't? Just saying. Can you say don't like 3 times? Don't. If you're saying don't, then that means that your placement's probably a little bit high. Okay, I mean we're going to try to lower that a little bit more. Try to get more air through your throat. Okay, so instead don't, more don't. Okay, so don't make promises. This O sound on don't is usually a little strong. Okay, so like don't make promises. Don't
make promises you can't keep.
Can't keep. Don't make promises.
Don't make promises you.
Promise. Don't make promises. Don't make promises.
Don't make promises.
Don't make.
Don't make
Make. Can you say make? Make. Again, I would say that 3 times as well. Make.
Don't make promises.
Because I feel like don't make. Like I do think we're a little bit higher on the make versus make. So again, like your A sound. Okay. So instead, don't make, more don't make.
Don't make promises you can't keep.
You can't keep. Can't. The word can't is such a problematic sound in word. Let me hear it again.
Keep. Promises you can't keep.
Can't. You will hear people pronouncing can't in slightly different ways. Okay. Just a quick thing for Mimo. Thank you so much for mentioning it. I appreciate it. And also for Chai. Appreciate that as well. Thanks for the kind words. Maybe send us a file. We'd love to hear from you. Wink, wink. I see your question, nameless and faceless. We'll talk about that in a moment. But let's talk a little bit about can't. Can't is tricky because of a couple reasons. The first reason why can't is a little bit difficult to say is because you have this sound, which I feel like we talk about every live stream at some point. So I know you guys, some of you are like, oh, is Jeff's going to talk about it again? Oh. But it's important because this sound linking with an N is so common. Not a whole lot of words have it, but they're very high frequency words. So for can't, you want to make sure that you're making your sound slightly farther back, somewhere and then right before you get to your N sound, you're going to do a heavy breath out of your nose. So it sounds like and. The other issue that you want to, I don't want to say the other, excuse me, you want to say another, because there are many issues. Another issue you want to be mindful of too with can't is that your N sound, you want to make sure your N sound is being projected from down here, because what a lot of students are doing is they're projecting their N sound up here. The reason for that, it's a nasal sound. So you feel the air coming out of your nose. So that's one reason why you're already kind of shifting your placement high. But then another issue too is that, when you make that N sound, what a lot of people are doing is they're using the tip of the tongue right there, and they're touching up around here. And because you're so focused on that, that can also cause your placement to rise up and get a little tenser. Okay. So we're going to want to fight these natural urges. What we want to do is we want to keep it lower. So even though it's an N sound, keep it low. So it's not n, n. It's more n, n. So do this with me. We're going to do it like 3 times. Do this at home. Okay. If no one's around you, or if people are around you, just say, I don't care. Just do it. We're going to do it high, and then we're going to do it low. Okay. It's like n, 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 n. No. Do you feel that difference in terms of sound? Do you hear that difference in terms of sound? So these are all things you want to be paying attention to. So like try saying an, n, and trying to keep everything low down here. It's not an, it's an. Okay, so just are a couple things that you want to be mindful of with that and sound. Hello to Hassan. Haven't seen you in a minute, man. Hope you're okay. So some things you want to be watch out for can't. Okay. If you're finding that tricky to say, make sure that you can say an. Like the woman's name, Anne. Okay. So again, so you can, if you feel like Anne is okay, or if you don't feel like it's okay, then practice linking your ass onto your N. And heavy breath out of your nose right before that N. Okay. Other things that you want to watch out for too. Actually, this is kind of related to us. So some of came a bit tense. Yeah, some people do pronounce it tense. This is a sound that can certainly happen. You can certainly notice that can't, that does happen. Okay. But I think that in general for students practice, if we can get things a little lower, a little bit more open, it helps carry over to other sounds as well. Because what we see with the letter N so often is that it's causing people to tense up and raise their placement, and it's affecting their vowel sounds. Okay, so I do think it's good practice try and get open. But yes, you will hear some people pronouncing it tenser. That is true. One of the other issues with can't, though, is that despite all of everything I just said, Hassan mentions they've been working a lot. Totally understand that. I feel that, Hassan, so much. Thanks for the kind words on the setup too. I appreciate that. One of the other issues with can't, though, is that it's also a word that very often is reduced. It's not often the stress word. Like you can't keep. Like, for instance, here in this sentence, don't make promises you can't keep. Most likely your stress would be on keep. It actually probably wouldn't be on can't. So what happens, instead of hearing the word can't, like sometimes if you're listening and you're trying to hear the word can't, you're actually not going to hear it. What you're going to hear instead is you're going to hear can, just like that. Can't keep. See if you can do that. Can't keep. Can't keep. Okay. Don't make promises you can't keep. Don't make promises you can't keep. Okay. So very frequent for can't to get reduced. Okay. So just kind of another thing to kind of be mindful of there. Okay. So don't make promises you can't keep. Other things. So let's go back to our original audio. Okay. Don't make promises you can't keep.
Don't make promises you can't keep.
Don't make promises you can't keep. Don't make promises you can't keep. So let's try reduce can't. And the other thing too is that your pitch levels are kind of staying. I think we could increase the amount of pitches we're using.
Don't make promises you can't.
Don't make promises. Don't make promises. What if we lowered make more? Don't make promises. Don't. It's like if we start here as our midpoint, it's like don't make promises. Don't make promises. Don't make promises. That's just going to add a little bit more contrast to what you're saying.
Don't make promises.
Because right now it's like don't make promises. I do think make is lowering in pitch, but I think we could, exaggerate that a little bit more. Don't make promises.
Don't make promises you can't keep.
And similar with the second half, you can't keep. Go down more on can't. You can't keep. Don't make promises. Don't make promises you can't keep. Don't make promises you can't keep. Don't make promises you can't keep. Because I think just doing that pitch pattern, high, low, high, or even high, low, high, shift to low, low, high. Promises you can't keep. Don't make promises you can't keep. Ooh, Emmanuel asks a great question that I want to touch on. It's not really a question. It's a great comment. So if you do like I can't, it's like I can't, you can't. It's like can and can't. So when can't gets reduced, it very often gets reduced to like can't, you can't. When can gets reduced, it often becomes can. Your difference between can't and can. You can't keep, you can keep. There's a difference. So again, I'll give you some examples. Let's see if you guys can hear the difference between these. This is a great point. Okay, so our first one, you can keep. Our second one, you can't keep. Hear a difference? Again, you can keep. Second one, you can't keep. Okay, so again, can and can't are slightly different sounds. And so that's why you can reduce them both, and your listener will still be able to hear the difference. In general, I do have to mention that there are times when even native speakers can misunderstand or have a hard time understanding each other when someone says the word. It's like someone says like can, but the other person hears can't, or vice versa. Okay, so it does occasionally happen. I'm not going to say it's super frequent and things like that like native speakers never understand each other. No, it's not like that at all. 99 times out of 100, it's not an issue, but occasionally it can be a problem. Okay. So if you ever want to make sure people understand you, there isn't necessarily anything wrong with like pronouncing the T and can't, or anything like that, but it does sound a little bit less natural, just to note. But yeah, hopefully you can hear the difference between can keep and can't keep. Let me know in the chat box. Can you hear a difference? Tell me yes, difference, or no, the same. Let me know in the chat box if you can tell the difference between those, because I'm curious to know. Denny, good to see you, man. We're actually taking a look at your audio file right now. So play back until I actually wrote it down. Play back to like minute 15 to get the full feedback that we've been giving you. But yeah, I'm doing okay. Kedichi too. Yes, you rely on context. Yes, context is always pronunciation. The very first thing that has the biggest impact on everything is always going to be context. Context always determines everything. Okay. That being said, context, body language. If someone's like, "No, I can't go," well, then they're probably not saying can, right? Or like saying, "Yes, I can help you." Well, they're probably not saying can't. So it's like there are usually other cues, but they may or may not necessarily be present in all situations. Okay. Great question. All right, how else can we help Denny? Okay. Riddick says watching sitcoms. Yeah, for sure. If you're watching shows and things like that, or listening to podcasts, these are things that come up very regularly. I mean, these are high frequency words, right? Yes, so I think that makes a lot of sense. All right, so we gave a lot of information about the first half of the sentence. How about the second half?
Reputation means a lot.
Lot. Give me some of that European English on that ah sound, right? I was actually just working with a Ukrainian student on the ah sound a bit. Lot. Again, American English. One huge difference between American English and British English is going to be that ah sound. Okay. British English tends to be a little more closed off, more lot, versus American English, lot. Again, more air through the throat and lower. Placement, as always. So we can get through that.
Means a lot.
Lot. Okay. Shok, thanks for letting us know. Shok can hear the difference between can and can't, which is great. So glad to hear that. Shok watches some shows and things. Now she was watching some Stranger Things. Excited for next season. If you guys have seen Stranger Things, let me know. I have not seen all the seasons of Stranger Things. I've only seen I just finished the first season with my wife, who I actually started on the last season that came out. The first season is way better. Just the development is so much stronger. Anyways.
So
one thing, a lot, again, it's kind of a little bit closed off to me. So some things that we can do to try to figure out why that is. If you ever, it is true for any word you're saying. If you're ever like, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but I don't know why. Well, you can kind of do like a progression like this. Start off just with your vowel, because that's the most important part. So just say ah, and then if yours sounds like mine, cool, great. If yours sounds more like oh, or like oh, or like however else it sounds, but anything not like then that's your sign that okay, I need to practice my vowel sound. Okay, cool. You know what your problem is. Great. But maybe you're saying the sounds, but you're still like, but lot still sounds different. Well, let's try adding some consonants. Let's try adding a T after it. So let's do like ot. Okay. See then, are you doing but oh? Then it's like, oh wow, my vowel is shifting. Okay, so that's your sign. Okay, so you need to work on linking your sound to your T. But most likely, I don't think that's going to be the problem for most people. Most people, if they're having an issue, then what you can do is most likely it's going to be the L sound. The L, there's some consonants that just really have huge impacts on vowels, including like an L, an N sound, and R sounds, things like that. So make sure you can do like la, la. Okay. And C, if you're doing like lo, or like things like that, then that's a sign that your L sound is closing things off. Okay. And you can try pronouncing that 3 times. Say it really fast. Link it together like la, la. Okay. Things like that. Just to see if we can weaken your consonant sounds, keep things open. Okay. Hassan's a big Stranger Things. Who is your favorite character, Hassan? Let me know, man. I've actually did some videos on Stranger Things, just kind of like analyze it because there's so many international actors, and it's great hearing them speak like how they normally talk, and then hearing them switch to American English. Like I showed my wife how Charlie Heaton or like Jonathan Byers. I made a video about him. How he sounds British, and then like as we're watching the season, we start like listening to the times like, oh wow, he sounded British right there. You could hear it in his vowel sound. Like you don't notice it until you start like kind of paying attention to it. Then you can start identifying the scenes where it's like, oh yeah, his British accent kind of came through there a little bit. But if you don't know, then you don't really notice. Yeah. Danny mentions a great point. I notice when I say it, normally it sounds closed off. Tip to tongue down. Yeah, for sure. This is a great, this is a very common strategy where for a lot of sounds in American English pronunciation, the tip of the tongue is actually lower. Super common. And that's super helpful because when your tongue is lower, that's also opening things up back here. So you're allowing more air to come through. So I think that makes a lot of sense. In general, you don't need your tongue to go high for a lot of sounds. Like for instance, like an L sound. Like if you say like a lot, I'm saying a lot with the tip of my tongue down against the bottom of my mouth. A lot. Okay. And it's not clear, right? It's a muffled L. Okay. But in context and rapid speech and things like that, it's not really an issue. Okay. Same thing with like N's and all kinds of sounds. Maybe you'll notice the L's making things sound tensed. Yeah. Like look. Can you say look with the tip of your tongue against the bottom of your mouth? Look. As opposed to look. If you're saying look, that's on your L sounds too strong. Yeah. You could say she's got some spunk. Max is very spunky. It's a good way to describe Max. And a nice adjective for people. Usually used with, it can be used for guys, but more often it's used with women who are like female characters who are kind of like sassy, give you a little bit of attitude. So like not arrogant, but a lot of confidence and things like that. I got some spunk. Denny, for the sake of time, we've given tons and tons of feedback on that. So hopefully that gives you some things to be considering. Okay, but thank you for sending that audio. I do appreciate it. We'll move on to our next one. Make sure we have time for everybody. Okay. I have not seen Breaking Bad, and I feel like it's too late. There's so many seasons, and the episode's like an hour. Like, how do people have time to watch these shows? Where do you guys get this time? You know how I know you guys don't have kids? You can watch these shows. Like, when do you guys do this? I have no idea when you guys are like watching this stuff. I have no idea. Game of Thrones, same thing. Oh man, Denny is asking the big questions. Oh my gosh. Watch it 3 times? How many hours is that? My God. My God. I hope you were shadowing everything every character said while you're watching this. Kidding. Denny, do I still have that file up?
Bite of modern.
Okay, Denny, let's just want to give a quick answer to Denny's question, then we'll move on, I promise. Let's bring that up. Denny wants the real facts.
Don't make promises you can't keep. Reputation means a lot.
Don't make promises you can't keep. It feels just so closed off, Denny.
Don't make promises you.
Like it feels like you're really here. Like it feels like your placement's so much in like your mouth, which again makes sense because Italian, right? Italian's kind of more around here. It's like don't make promises. Don't make promises. Versus don't make promises. Let's just use that first phrase. Don't make promises. Don't make promises.
Don't make promises.
Don't make promises. Don't make promises. Don't make promises. Don't make promises. Denny, do you hear the difference there? I'm not changing mouth position. I'm not changing tongue position really. I'm just changing placement and airflow. That's the only thing I'm changing. Don't make promises. Don't make promises.
Don't make promises.
Don't make promises. Don't make promises. Don't make promises. Don't make promises. You heard the difference? It's just airflow and things. So it's like it's hard to say. What I would say is that if you can get down here more consistently and open up your throat more, which I know is easier said than done, but if you do those two things, you will automatically sound more American. So I think it's clear. I think people understand it. I would be really working on trying to get more air through. Really trying to get more air through your throat consistently. So I'll say, I don't know, like 10 is like super native, like 10 sounding like me, 1 sounding like someone just started learning English. I mean, for an Italian speaker, yeah. I mean, I don't think it's like a super heavy Italian accent. It's not don't make promises you can't keep, like or like sometimes it sounded like robotic, like promise, versus promise. I'm not hearing that, but I think airflow and placement, yeah. So I would say, I don't know, 6 is like around 6, maybe 6.5. It's not bad. Okay. But still a little bit of separation. Okay. Moving right along. Yes. All right. Now everyone wants to be Jeff. Give me a rating on like 1 to 10. Oh my gosh. Open that up. Open that can of worms up, right? A few times. Oh, I've heard about the Game of Thrones, and that's another reason why I don't want to start Game of Thrones. Is like, why do I want to be disappointed? Why do you want to start something when it's going to disappoint you? Why would you do that? Did anyone here like this season 8? I haven't heard one good thing about season 8. I don't even know why season 8's so bad. I just hear, oh, it's awful, but I have no idea why. Anyways, let's go to our next file. Where's our time? Time now. We are looking at 39. Oh my gosh, we gave Denny so much time on that. Oh my gosh. Denny's stealing the show. This isn't even the Schwab anymore. This is the Denny show.
Those who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones.
Those who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. So this is again a common expression. What's this one, right?
Those who live
in glass houses. Those who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. Common expression. Again, I recommend going to like Youglish.com, putting this in, because you'll imagine you'll be able to find some good examples in addition to what I'll tell you.
Those who live in glass houses.
Those who live in glass houses. Those who live in glass houses
Those who live in glass houses.
Those who live in glass houses. I think that if you hear like native speakers using this sentence in a natural situation, I think you're going to notice that it's going to sound just a little bit different. Some of it I think is intonation based, because like you're saying like houses. But again, this is an expression. There's two parts to this expression. You just gave me the first half. And one thing that we see when speakers are not finished talking is that they use rising intonation at the end of the phrase to indicate that there's more to come. So instead of houses, I would maybe consider for that is sound using more of a rising intonation. Houses. Those who live in glass houses. Do you hear the difference between those who live in glass houses versus those who live in glass houses? Okay. Those are the things that I think would be really helpful. Those who live in glass houses. Okay. Those who live in glass houses. I would also reduce your stress on those. Your those is very strong. It's like those who live in glass. I'm exaggerating, but those who live in glass houses. I'm kind of hearing that a lot.
Those who live in
Like those, super strong versus those who live. Like I would get through that a little faster.
those who live in glass houses.
Want to hear live again?
Those who live in
Live. You know, it's tricky because live is super fast here, which I agree with. Is you're reducing it, you're doing it fast because it's not a stressed word. But one thing I'm a little nervous about is, are you saying live or leave? Like those who leave versus those who live. So I do think we get a little bit more short I sound.
those who live in
Leave versus live, like a little bit more short I. Those who live in glass houses.
those who live in glass
Live in. I also think that for in, I think you could go just like a step lower in pitch. Those who live in glass, because you're going down. Live in glass houses. Live in glass. So down. Live in glass houses. Okay. Those who live in glass houses.
those who live in glass houses shouldn't throw a stone.
Shouldn't.
Houses shouldn't throw a
Do that shouldn't versus shouldn't. Does your sound like in book or good or look? Okay. In terms of mouse position, just some things you want to be aware of for this sound. Give me a moment to change my angle so you can see me nice and big. Look how big I am now. All right. It's like should. Again, more should. Notice again, my lips are relatively straight. Back of my tongue is high. Front of my tongue is down. Should. So it's not shoo, like shoo. It's more should. Okay. Let's watch out for that vowel sound because I think it's going to be helpful. Other
glass
things.
houses shouldn't throw stones.
Shouldn't versus shouldn't. Shouldn't throw stones.
Houses shouldn't throw a stone.
Shouldn't throw stones. A little, I don't want to say flat. There is movement in pitches, but stones is your stress. Make it stand out more. Raise the pitch just a little higher. Shouldn't throw stones. Those are glass houses. Shouldn't throw stones.
Stones.
Because right now it's just
Houses
stones.
shouldn't throw stones.
Shouldn't throw stones. You're just kind of like here, high, low, high. But you're kind of just staying at the same pitch. Like instead of shouldn't throw stones, just raising the pitch a little bit higher so it's not the same pitch as shouldn't. There's another recommendation.
Those who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones.
Okay. Hopefully that's helpful.
Those who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones.
Yeah, and I think those could be my big things there. I like how you're saying stones, like that N sound. That can be a tricky sound for people, but I think that sounded pretty good. Just a note. Okay. But yeah, hopefully that gives you some things to chew on. Okay. Thank you as always for sending that. I do appreciate it. Other things here. Series recaps. That is true. You know, there was I haven't watched this for years, but I remember there was like a series of like 30-second summaries by like it's like drawn like animated bunnies. They like reenact the movies and like the quick 30-second snippets and things. So you don't really know what's going on, but you kind of get the idea. I can see if they're those guys are still around. This is a while ago. It's like on like Flash Player or something. Some notes here about You know, the one thing I would say, especially with placement, is especially key is where you're projecting from. When I think placement, that's the main thing I'm considering. Is like, where's the sound coming from? Is it coming from like up here? Is it coming from here? Is it coming from down here? Like if I do E, 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 that's me just kind of lowering the placement and things. Yep. For sure, Denny. Hopefully that gives you some things. Again, I like what you're doing. I think you're doing good. Just want to get some more air through. Okay. Real quick, guys, if you are finding what we're doing today helpful, you know, we could actually do this like every single day of the week. We do this every single day of the week if you join, for instance, our Telegram group, which you can see some notes about below in the ticker. Okay. Where basically every day it's kind of like this. I post a challenge. I also have another teacher helping me out named Lenora. She's great. And so we post a challenge. And then what you can do is send in your own audio file every single day of the week. And you get feedback from me. You get feedback from Lenora. Sometimes both of us on the same file. So if you're trying to really take your pronunciation to the next step, but you're not sure, maybe you need help getting that kind of rhythm. Maybe you're just someone who needs extra encouragement to do it every single day, because I don't know about you, but I know that when I'm studying pronunciation or any language, if I take a day off, I feel it the next day. Like if I take a break, it's like, oh man, I feel a little slower today. If I take 2 days off, I feel even slower. If I take a week off, it's like, oh man, I feel like I lost like a month. Now I need to spend 2 weeks just to get back to where I was before. So if that sounds like you, if you ever have that sort of encourage or situation happening, then I really encourage you to take a look at our pronunciation group on Telegram. It looks a little bit something like this.
Please.
I think your O sounds are a little bit tense.
Take off the T on center.
If you're interested in joining that, you can go to patreon.com/fluentamerican. This thing that you'll see, you're going to see we have different tiers. You'll want the middle tier. So it's like $5 for the month. Get you some practice in. Because we just want to make sure you guys are improving your pronunciation and things like that. All right, and of course, we have some questions about that too. We have some people in the chat actually who are members as well. But yeah, let's get back to your pronunciation files. I don't know. I forget if I deleted the last one. We might run into that again, but that's okay. Where'd I go? I got kicked to the side. There I am. All right. Let's see what we got here.
Sorry, I didn't catch that. Привет.
Feeling that ending. Not evaluate the Russian. Cyrillic. But we can do the English part. Gotta play that again. A lot of people checking out the document, which is great.
Sorry, I didn't catch that. Привет. Привет.
Yeah, I need some bass behind that. Okay, let's do that first part. Kind of a similar note that I made for another student earlier.
Sorry, I
really like how you read that. I think it sounds really good.
Sorry, I
think it sounds really natural. I like your R sounds. R is such a tricky consonant. It's so easy for R sounds to dominate, to just like take over. And so I like what you're doing here. Able to get it through. Sounds good. Okay. I always forget. Does it mean thanks or hi? I always forget. I have not studied Russian. I always forget that. Dustin's in the house. Good to see you again, sir. Okay, we're just looking at some pronunciation files. What you up to? Why are you late for class? Did your teacher ever tell you that? Hey, you. Hey, why are you late for class? Teachers ever do that to you?
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
The one thing is, I think your catch is so strong. It's like, sorry, I didn't catch that. We don't need to make it so stressed. I think it's a little bit overweighted. Okay, so I would tone that down a little bit.
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
I didn't catch that. More. I didn't catch that. I didn't catch that. So don't pause as long between didn't and catch. Okay, and don't make it so forceful. Don't push the air out too strongly. Okay, I didn't catch that. Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
I didn't. You could even on the didn't, you can even take that second syllable that you could even take that a step lower in pitch if you wanted, just to create more contrast. I didn't catch that. I didn't catch that. Okay. It's like didn't. Almost sounds like Jaws, right? Didn't. Anyways, I digress. Didn't. Just lower that pitch a little bit on the NT there at the end. I think I'll give you a more natural sound.
Didn't catch that.
Besides that, I like that. I like your ass sounds.
Didn't catch that.
Yes, just tone it down a little bit. Catch that. Catch that. Catch that.
Catch that.
Another thing too, just not necessarily something wrong, just kind of alternatives, exercises to practice and expand your pronunciation a little bit more. When you say catch that, can you say catch that with the tip of your tongue down against your bottom tooth or the bottom of your mouth the entire time, not letting it rise? Like catch that. This again, just to kind of practice some linking exercises, practice making that TH sound a little bit weaker so it's not so dominant.
Catch that.
Because like catch that. It's a little heavy on that TH. You could weaken it slightly because just kind of something to consider there. Any other things standing out?
Sorry, I didn't catch that. Sorry, I didn't catch.
Oh, didn't. Can you say didn't? Again, I feel like didn't. I do think your placement raised a little bit for that N. It's like didn't.
Sorry, I didn't catch.
Didn't. You again, placement's a little high. We talked about placement for N sounds a little earlier when we're talking about can. Okay, so I'll try to find that section. Okay, I didn't catch that. Didn't catch that. Okay, so a little more, just a little bit low on your placement there. Okay, but John, I like this. I think it sounds pretty good. Shok, if you have any questions for me, be sure to let me know. I would appreciate it. Okay. All right. Spasiba. Is that like a spa? Like spa, or is it spa? Or like spa? Get some more spa. Spasiba. Where's the stress too? It's on the spa, is it on the C, is it on the V? Or va? I need to look up how to say that. Okay. Yeah, I knew it's phonetic, but I've never learned the system, so it puts me on a spas. Oh wait, stress on the C. Spasiva, or something like that. I'm sure I'm butchering that. I've not studied Russian before, guys. I'm so sorry. Sorry. You can attack me. But you can also like it too, by the way. If you're learning things on the stream, be sure you press the like button. That helps promote the video and keeps things rolling for us. We would appreciate that.
We shouldn't have gone there in the first place.
Oh my gosh. Very threatening. Hey, I kind of got it. Appreciate it. We're kind of doing things. Look at us doing pronunciation for other languages. Look at us doing the thing. Emmanuel, what are you saying?
We shouldn't have gone there in the first place.
So deep. Oh my God. I turn on my subwoofer. Shaking my floor over here. Yeah, right, I'm sure. I think my Italian / high school Spanish is having an impact on the sound. I love this bass. It's so rich.
We shouldn't have gone there in the first place.
Do you guys hear that? It's so low. Oh man. Get it more often. It's rolling your placement. Oh my God. I'm just kidding. We want you well. But apparently there are some advantages. Let's see again.
We shouldn't have gone there in the first place.
The only word that sounds a little bit tense to me here is make sure to just make some notes for my timestamps. I asked for help for my timestamps. I'm all alone.
We shouldn't have gone there in the first place.
Do you know what word to me sounds really tense? I'm going to play this 2 more times. This is my challenge to you in the chat. If you are watching us, there is one word in particular here that sounds really tense and closed off to me. And I want to see if you can hear it. This is your listening portion. This is your listening test from the Schwab Mill. Oh my God. You didn't even know you were going to get a test today, did you? Let's listen again. Play it 2 times. Let me know in chat what sounds tense.
We shouldn't have gone there in the first place.
Play it one more time.
We shouldn't have gone there in the first place.
Okay. Something sounding tense to me. What is it? Let me know in the chat. I'll give you 1,000 points. Don't ask me what the points are for.
We shouldn't have gone there. And
I'm going to break up this first half. I like this first half.
we shouldn't have gone there.
We shouldn't have gone there. We shouldn't have gone there. I like your movement. I like your sound.
We shouldn't have gone there.
Yeah, I really don't have much to say there. I think it sounds really clear. Very open, lots of air through the throat. You got some movement in your pitches. All of these are great, great things that we like to hear.
We shouldn't have gone there in the
So let's take a look at the second half. What word is sounding tense? Any ideas?
gone there in the first place.
I hear it again. Oh my gosh.
Gone there in the first place.
Okay. So the word I'm hearing that sounds extra tense and kind of closed off to me is this word place. Listen again how I say it. Place. Place.
There in the first place.
Get it? Place. 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 A. Versus a. Compare how I say it. Place.
The first place.
Place. Place. Place. Place. It's all about, I think Emmanuel heard it. We'll take a listen to first. Riddick mentioned first. Let's listen to that again. But the word that's really jumping out to me is place.
There in the first place. We should there in the first place. The first place.
You know, I do think I wouldn't be opposed to more air coming through on the R. Okay, I will be honest. I would be okay with that. But if I had to pick one sound to really focus on, it would definitely be the A sound in place. And I think this kind of goes back to something we mentioned earlier, Emmanuel. Okay, which you probably already know what I'm about to say. I think it's your L. I think your L sound's having an impact on your vowel. Like say like ace and then say place. Like ace, place, ace, place. Or if that's even a little tricky, just take off the P. Just do like ace, lace, ace, lace. And it may be helpful, again, you can kind of treat it more with the dark L. You keep the tip of your tongue against the bottom of your mouth. Okay, so instead of a lace, more lace. And see if you can do it with your mouth wide the entire time, like ace, lace, ace, lace. Let the back of your tongue do more work. Let the front of your tongue do less work. Give the front of your tongue the day off. Be like, you know what, front of the tongue, you can go home early today. You deserve it. Get the back of the tongue to do more of that work, the heavy lifting for lace, supposed to front of the tongue. Okay. Other things standing out.
We shouldn't have gone there in the first place.
Yeah, definitely place.
Gone there in the first place.
Yeah, that's going to be the big comment there. Work on that place a little bit. Just try to open that up more when you're feeling up to it. Obviously not like right now. But yeah. Okay, Emmanuel. Hopefully that was helpful. Thanks as always for sending that file. Always great to hear it. Okay. Try to remember where you're projecting your sound from while you're sick, because you can use that to your advantage. See, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Oh my gosh. Like, I don't have a big enough subwoofer. I don't. Speaking, and then there's this guy named Beats. Speaking of bass, okay. Thank you, Emmanuel. BW Beats. Do you actually make beats? Is music? Is your channel about music? Is that what we're doing? When you say mid-tongue movement, what do you mean? Like in terms of like where you're like for making consonant sounds and things like that? You know, the front of the tongue is certainly involved, but I think people make it overly involved. There's lots of sounds you can actually make more with the middle of your tongue. I would agree with that, as opposed to the tip of your tongue. You know, I think that's really fair. Yeah, I think that's really true. So I actually have a video about that. If you're interested in tongue position things, Because let's be honest, again, just like we said, what a lot of people are doing with their tongue, they're pronouncing sounds like N with the tip of the tongue like N, or they're pronouncing S with the tip of the tongue like S, or pronouncing like D, like a D sound or a T sound with the tip of the tongue high like T or D. And there's nothing wrong with that. That works. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But it can cause things to tense up if you're not careful, and it can block air, and it can lead to choppier speech. So, if you're able to practice producing those same sounds like T's and N's and D's and things with the tip of your tongue down, that's what this first video here is all about. Okay. Again, I just typed in tongue in the search for my videos. This is the video that you want. Okay. And it's going to talk to you all types of little tricks and things you can do to get that tip of your tongue down and still say like, like la, or like ra, or t, and like all sounds like that. This is super helpful stuff there.
We shouldn't.
Okay. Last 3 original files. Try and get through as many pronunciation files as we can. By the way, if you are just joining us, say hey. BW Beats, for instance, is this your first time chatting in our stream? My apologies if I've forgotten, but it's great to see you. Hope to see you around the stream more often. Okay. But if you're new, we do this every single Saturday. Okay. At 1:30 p.m. East Coast time. So basically like this time now. We started an hour ago. Okay. Well, BW, it's great to see you. Hope to see you in future streams, man. If you want to send in your pronunciation files, a couple more people are sending files. Okay. But as you can see right now, not a ton of files. You can. There's some directions at top talking about going to vocab.com and submitting your file. Okay. It'll give you a link. You put the link here and that will work out. Okay. It's just kind of some things to consider. Okay. 101. Shout out from Armenia. Appreciate that. Let's bring it. Okay. It's good to see you. What time is it there? I'm guessing it's probably what, like 9, 10 o'clock? Maybe a little later. Ooh, good question. If you can't see it, I can see it on my menu, but maybe because I'm the one streaming. That's a good question. Yeah. Full 8 hours. Oh man, getting late. Thanks for spending part of your Saturday evening with us. You could be out making beats, and you're here listening to some pronunciation tips. Appreciate that. Well, this file's mad long. Let's save that for last from our original group. Let's see what we got here.
Those who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones.
Oh, we actually talked about that one already. We ahead of the game. Look at us, guys. We ahead of the game.
Bite off more than you can chew.
A little choppy, right? Ahmed. Somalia, cool. There's actually a very large Somali population where I live. I don't know why. Or phrase. Buff more you could shoot. No, I really feel like staying home and enjoying your live streams. Aw, thank. What a nice, kind answer. I have to applaud that. Thank you. That's a very, very kind words. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay. Well, let's take a listen to this again. Here's a phrase.
Bite off more than you can chew.
Very choppy. So the primary thing that we're going to be focusing on with this file is we're going to be focusing on how do we smooth this out, because we want to flow from one word to the next to the next to the next. Okay, because right now it's a versus okay, same idea, but just the second one is just flowing so much more, right?
Bite off.
So you do have some linking there, which is good. Bite off, good. Okay, notice that you have that fast D sound between bite and off, but it's not too dominant, which is what you want. You want to focus on the vowels.
More than you can chew.
More than you. So this is where we start getting a little choppier.
Bite off more than you can.
More than. Again, I mentioned earlier, I just showed the video about tongue tricks. Similar things with like THs. TH sounds very often I'll be honest with you, everyone. I know how THs are traditionally taught. Okay, but the reality is that for THs, there's actually lots of times when native speakers are not even making any contact at all with the top tooth. Because what can happen is you start getting a choppier sound, kind of like what's happening here, like more than, because you have that really strong TH, right? But a lot of times the way native speakers are saying that is like more than. Okay. So if you're interested in weakening your TH sounds, you want to, I just went to my videos. You want to go for, how long ago did I make this video? Oh my God. Dun, dun, dun. Was it that long ago? This video here, how to pronounce TH, what teachers don't tell you. In fact, you can also see that, I think, on the home as well. This is going to go through some techniques for the TH that actually involve pronouncing it without contact with your top tooth, resulting in a smoother sound that you can connect more. And in fact, you can see it here. So what your English class has never taught you. There's that TH video there. I also have a whole series. If you find a TH sound difficult, there's a whole series of videos that talk about different techniques for a TH here. Okay, so you can see all that on the channel page, just a note. Okay, so instead of more than, more than, just kind of get that to flow a little bit more, just a note. Okay. So that's already going to help you flow more. It's like bite off more than, bite off more than.
Bite off more than you can chew.
More than you can, more than you can. So we want to get that all flowing together too. It's like more than. Then we want to link than you. It's like than you, than you. This is again another situation where keep the tip of your tongue down against the bottom of your mouth for that N sound. Than you, more than you, more than you, and keep it going. More than you can. So this whole time, more than you can, the tip of my tongue is down against the bottom of my mouth the entire time. Bite off more than you can chew. And then for chew, you can still keep the tip of your tongue down, but raise the middle of your tongue to make contact for that ch. I don't know if you can see it, but ch. Tip of my tongue is down again. Middle of my tongue is making contact. More than you can chew. More than you can chew. More than you can chew. Okay. Bite off more than you can chew. In terms of stresses, your major stress is going to be bite and chew. Just a note. Bite off more you can chew. If you just want one stress, which is also possible, you can put the stress on chew. Bite off more you can chew. It's just a note there.
Bite off more than you can chew.
The other thing that's going to be helpful here is pitches. Okay. Because right now all your pitches are about the same. Bite off more than you can chew. Bite off more than you can chew. So there's not really a whole lot of contrast.
Bite off more than you can chew.
You're giving me like two pitches. You're just alternating them. Da, 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 da. You know, bite off more than you can chew. So especially in that more than you can chew part, that's the part where you really want to have more variation. You can go down. More than you can. More than you can. So you want to go down, 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 down. Bite off more than you can chew. Bite off more than you can chew. Something like that will give you a more natural rhythm as well for that phrase. Okay. Let me know if anything there is not clear, but thank you for sending that audio file. Do appreciate it. Okay. Sure. It's always hard, kind of like transcribing, especially without like IPA and things like that, because different people might read it different ways. In a lot of ways, I would argue that N sounds are even weaker than just writing a normal N. Like more than you can chew, more you can chew. You can probably get away with not even pronouncing any N sounds in that if you really wanted. Okay. A question here as well. Can you reduce more than to more than where you can chew? Yeah, I think you can. More than you can chew. I think that could work. I think that could. Okay, but thanks for sending that file. I do appreciate it. Let me take a quick water break before we take a look at our last original group.
Like what you're hearing? Let us know by liking and subscribing.
Okay. 25 seconds. We can do this. Come on. Come on. We got some exercises.
But, hey, go,
go, pull, pull. How are you? How are you?
Okay, lots of things to touch on here. She gave me a lot. Let's start off. We'll kind of break it into sections. Let's do your schwa sound first. Okay, so still sounds a little bit tense. It does sound lower. I can hear you lowering it, which is great. I do think you can still get a little more air through your throat because it's like versus hear a difference. I do hear more air coming through. Okay, so I do hear air, but I do think you could even add more. Okay, I do think that would be possible. Put. I heard a buh, almost more of a but it's more This is not a schwa sound. This is your sound like in good or book. Okay, so the back of your tongue needs to be a little bit higher. Okay, straight your lips more. You can open your mouth a little more. Put. Just a note. The other thing too is that your vowels kind of shift. Is like And remember, American English in general, we're not going to be doing those shifts. We want to try to maintain the same vowel sound throughout. So it's not it's more put. Put. So it's not put. It's more put. Okay. Put. Just note on that. Also sounds to me like you've got watch out for P's and B's, because I feel like I'm hearing like more of a almost more of a B sound, like buh versus puh. Do that buh versus puh. Okay, so watch out for P's and B's a little bit.
Hey.
Again, similar thing here. A. Your vowel sound is not constant. It's modifying itself towards the end. We want to try to keep the same sound throughout. So it's not A. You know, it's more A. Okay?
Hey.
The hey versus hey. Hey. You know, it's more A. That's the sound you want.
Hey. Go.
Oh. Starting a little high. G. More go. So do you think your placement sounds like g versus go? So again, I'm trying to get that placement a little lower as well for that, because it's not go. It's more go. Just a note.
Go.
It's like go versus go. Okay, so again, lowering the placement a bit.
Pull.
Okay, you can hear the L kind of forcing its way in there. You want more of a dark L sound, so it's not more paw. Treat the dark L almost more like a vowel sound. Okay, keep that tip of your tongue down. Don't let it move. Paw. It's not pull. It's more paw. Keep things really open.
Go. Pull.
Because it's just, especially that second time, it really closes off pull versus paw.
How are you?
And that last one is, I think, the big thing is stress and pitch. You're kind of putting the stress on how. Where most likely the stress is either going to be on R or U. Like, how are you? Or how are you? You know, one of those, but probably not going to be how as often. Okay. So change the stressed word. Okay. And also raise the pitch because we're really flat. You know, when you meet someone, you don't say, oh, how are you? You know.
Pull. How are you?
You know, again, there's not a whole lot of enthusiasm. You don't sound very excited to meet this person or talk to them. Like, how are you? Or how are you? So make sure that your stressed word has a slightly higher pitch, because right now it's just sounding a little bit flat. Okay. And we want to make sure that, conveying a little bit more emotion, a little bit more enthusiasm. It could be really helpful. Okay.
How are you?
Yeah. Okay. So you gave me lots of different things there. Hopefully for each of those points, that gives you some things to kind of work on and touch on to continue working on our pronunciation stuff. Okay, if you have any questions about anything there, be sure to let me know. But thanks for sending that file. I do appreciate it. It's great hearing the exercises and things. Okay, I know that we had some things here. Oh, I had a question about their placement. Take a quick placement look at this again. One sec. Let's see.
Bite of more than you can chew.
Sounds a little bit high, especially towards the end.
Bite of more than you can chew.
Especially you can chew. We're kind of getting stuck up here. You can chew versus you can chew. Hear a difference between you can chew, you can chew, you can chew, you can chew. So yeah, you do sound a little bit high, especially for that second half. I do think you get things a little lower and more open. Just a note. Okay, I know some people have sent us some additional files, which is great. Super excited to see those. Mentioning the singer. I know the singer sent files once or twice, and he sent them like like 5 minutes before the stream was ending, or we just didn't have time. But I don't think I see them today. Just want to scout these files. Give me one moment. Don't want you guys listen to anything inappropriate. The sun's in the clear. And okay. Yeah, question 2 here as well. Question. That is the end of my water. I have no more hydration. Oh no. One of the words I find challenging to pronounce is immortal. Immortal. Okay. So like one difference that between mortal and immortal is obviously the first syllable, right? But you don't need to start off with a super heavy im. You know, it doesn't need to be like immortal. A lot of times, as long as you get even like a schwa sound before it, that's enough for it to be distinguished from mortal. It's like immortal, 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 immortal. Okay, it's just no immortal. You want to watch out for the R because there's always going to be a tendency for people to kind of overstress it and make it too strong, right? So again, it's not more, it's more. So making sure enough air is coming through. Okay. More. Okay. So again, that more. If you find that your R sounds getting a little tense and closed off, one thing you can do is open your mouth a little wider. More. And then that last syllable is going to be very weak to firstly. So it's going to be very weak because it's not our stress. Our stress is on the more. Okay. So more. And then that last syllable is going to be very fast and a very weak. Immortal. So again, my guess is that you're probably making that fast D sound a little bit too strong. Okay. My guess is that also for that L sound, you may be closing off a little bit, like versus So like, see if you can say with your mouth open. Immortal. Okay. Instead of immortal, more immoral. Instead of immortal, more immortal. Okay. So you don't need a super strong fast D sound for your linking. Just a note. Okay. The key part again is going to be the second syllable, so make sure that's strong enough. The first syllable and this last syllable make them super, super weak. You can even whisper them. Immortal. It's like immortal. Okay, and you'll be in good shape. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would be open for Riddick's question. Is a noisy sound? Again, it's a lot of times if it's a light L found at the start of a word, you can have some light contact, tip of your tongue, top of your mouth, like l. But again, you want lots of air coming through. Don't block off the air. Okay, keep the air flowing. Okay, but if it's a dark L sound, open your mouth a little wider and try to get more breath through. Okay, we want as much air flowing as possible. It's like like I say, like trouble, or like level. It's not level, it's level. Lots of air. Okay. If you ever feel like it's causing too much noise, like and things like that, try to get more breath through. Where'd it go? Hope that helps. I think you sent that question earlier. I'm sorry if I missed it. Pronounce sounds like ow sound. Are you doing like ow versus ow, ow, sound round? Okay. But can you say ow? I mean, it all starts with the vowel, right? So make sure you're saying ow, right? Ow, ow. Notice how wide my mouth is. Okay. Ow, ow. Okay. So if you find you're doing ow, one thing that may be happening is your lower jaw may be tensing a lot. Okay. So make sure you're not feeling a whole lot of tension in your lower jaw. Just kind of hangs down a little bit. Okay. Keep your mouth wide. And as always, keep the placement low and lots of air. Ow, ow. Notice how my mouth doesn't move a whole lot. Ow, ow. As you get more comfortable with that and air is coming through. Okay. Or let's say that you're not comfortable with that. Start off with the sound you feel comfortable with. Maybe you feel comfortable, for instance, with a schwa sound. So maybe you feel comfortable with like an sound. Well, then do a sound you're comfortable with first, then transition to your schwa. It's like ow, 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 ow. Just try to keep the projection from the same spot and trying to keep the airflow of the same amount. Okay, start with the sound you're comfortable with, then move to a sound that you're working on. Okay, and then try to keep the things the same. It's like ow, ow, ow. Okay. And then as you get more comfortable with that, then you can start adding some other letters to it. So for instance, your first word's out. So let's do ow, out. And then we can do a held sound for the held T, right? Ow, out, ow, ow, out. Or for instance, for sound, we can start off with the sow. It's like ow, sow, ow, sow. Or now we can add the ND sounds like ow, 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 ow. We do the whole word. It's like ow, ow, sound, ow, sound, ow, sound. And progressions like that. So basically, schwa sound is the basic. It doesn't have to be. Usually, when I'm working with students for the first time, we try to find a basic sound. For a lot of students, we use the schwa. If that's a difficult sound for a student to make, we may use other ones. We may use the E sound because most languages have an E. Or we may even use an ah sound because most languages have an ah. Okay, so we're usually starting with either the schwa or the ah or the E. We're starting off with a sound that people are a little bit familiar with or that people are using a lot. Like the sound, the schwa sound is the thinking sound that people are making in English. So that makes it a very helpful sound. It's also the most frequent vowel. But there may be others. You want to try to find at least one sound you can use as a model. Okay. Reduce airflow. Well, that could mean that it certainly can be possible. So for instance, like if you're doing like a vocal fry territory, like if you're trying to say like for instance A, but you find that you're doing a vocal fry like that's a sign that you may be having too much airflow through. Sorry guys, my son is back and it sounds a little tired. So it sounds a little tense. So what you could do, try raising the placement a little bit or trying to close the throat a little bit can reduce that airflow. So instead of doing like, you could do more and things like that. Okay. So just raise the things a little bit. It is possible to have too much air. I don't remember noticing that in your files. Okay. If that was something I heard, I would have let you know. But if you feel like that is happening, there's some techniques you can try to focus on a little bit. Okay. Okay. Last two files. And BW. It'll be great to see you in a class. Great to see you. Okay, last couple files. Oh, let me make sure to share my audio. Always have to remember that because I always forget. Sorry if my son is getting.
It's actually a bit weird, to be honest. It's actually a bit weird, to be honest.
Okay, so our sentence here is actually a bit weird, to be honest. Let's do that one more time.
It's actually a bit weird, to be honest.
Okay, big thing here is that just some sounds are coming across as very tense, okay, and very high. And so, for instance, the ones I'm noticing that the most on are
It's actually a bit
Lee, do that actually versus actually. Okay, so we talked earlier about impacts of the L sound. Okay, so I would definitely encourage you to take a look at earlier in the stream. Okay, because we talked about L sounds having an impact, and I think that's what we're seeing with the E sound. You may be able to say E perfect, but I think the L is changing it and making it tenser. So it's a li versus le. Okay, so see if you notice that in your speech.
It's actually a bit
Actually versus actually. Okay, keeping the tip of your tongue down a little lower. Okay, it's actually
a bit weird to be
a bit weird versus a bit weird. Ear. I would pronounce a bit weird. I would just do the vowels. Ear. Ear. And make sure you can do that low and open. And once you get comfortable with that, then you can add the consonants back. A bit weird. Ear. A bit weird. Ear. A bit weird. Ear. A bit weird. Ear. A bit weird. You know, trying to get to that point where you can link from one to the next, keeping the airflow going and keeping it low and open.
a bit weird to be honest. It's actually a bit weird to be honest.
To be honest. Also, lastly, pitches. Like, let's hear the to be honest part. There it is. Sorry.
A bit weird to be honest.
To be honest. It's like I would lower your pitches to be honest. To be honest. So on needs to have your highest pitch. The to and the B need to go down. To be honest. It's actually a bit weird to be honest. It's actually a bit weird to be honest. It's actually a bit weird. I also think you have a lot of stresses. So I'll cut down on some of your stresses.
It's actually a bit weird to be honest.
So you're giving me 3 stresses. Actually, a bit weird to be honest. It's actually a bit weird. I would stress weird. I wouldn't stress actually. You can, but just for the sake of practice, let's just stress weird. It's actually a bit weird to be honest. You can honestly just stress that. You don't need any other stresses. It's actually a bit weird to be honest. You can go down, 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 down to be honest. It's actually a bit weird. It's actually a bit weird to be honest. You know, something like that I think would sound pretty natural. Honestly, to be honest, I think that would sound natural.
It's actually a bit weird to be honest.
Yeah, those are going to be my main comments. Okay, if you have any questions about that, be sure to let me know. But thanks for sending that file. Do appreciate it. Okay, our last pronunciation file for today.
A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush.
Bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. Phrase again, you can go to youglish.com and type this one in. I think you'll get some examples from native speakers besides myself, if that's something you're interested in.
A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush.
It's worth 2. I do think you need a slightly stronger TH sound in worth. That's the thing that jumps out to me immediately.
In the hand is worth 2.
It's like worth 2 versus worth 2. Just it doesn't need to be anything super long or anything. Just like an extra like millisecond dedicated to that TH would add just an extra little touch of clarity.
Is worth 2 in the bush. And is worth 2 in the bush.
2 in the bush. Bird in the hand.
A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush.
I think the biggest advice besides that TH though is that stresses, you have a lot of stresses. You're giving me 4 in the chat box. See if you can identify what words are being stressed here.
A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush.
Mm-hmm.
A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush.
A lot of stresses. So again, I'm hearing 4. Yeah, and they're very regular. Bird, hand, 2, bush. A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. Very regular. You're kind of getting to this like sing-songy type of pattern. Okay. And that's in general, English does not like that. Let's cut it in half. Let's put a stress on hand. Bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. I would stress hand and bush.
A bird in the hand is...
It's a bird in the hand. A bird in the hand. Bird in the hand. So it's just down, 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 up. A bird in the hand. A bird in the hand. And our last part is worth 2 in the bush. Is worth 2 in the bush. You can even go slightly up on 2 if you wanted, but make bush your heaviest stress. Worth 2 in the bush. Bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. Bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. Okay, so just like paying attention to stresses, there, and those pitch patterns are two things that you can immediately apply that I think are really going to give you a much more natural sound for that phrase. Okay. Those are my big suggestions. One quick note. So Riddick asked, question really quick about airflow. I have a quick minute where I can do that, I think. And this is the link. By the way, guys, if you're interested in sending us audio file for next week's stream, cool. We'd love to have you. The way to do that is save this document. This link that you see here, this page that you see here, it's the same one that we use every single live stream. Okay, so save this, bookmark it, favorite it, make it your home page, whatever you want to do. I usually clear it out on Thursday or Friday, and then you can start inputting your new files in for the week. Okay, so if you've never sent a pronunciation file here to us, okay, well, maybe this is your opportunity to start doing so. It could be your first time. Another thing too that I always like to mention is that, you know, students often, I've had people come up to me and they're like, hey, like I wanted to send an audio file, but I got nervous. Everyone sounds so good. So people are listening to you, by the way, on these live streams, and people think you sound pretty good. So you're making other people nervous, but that should not stop you. You know, if you're someone that, you know, feels like it would be helpful, but you're nervous because you're like, oh, people are going to judge me. Well, first of all, we don't, we know you, but we don't know you, right? Like, you don't even have to put your name. You can just put the file if you want to stay anonymous. Okay. And that's perfectly fine. Okay. But the other thing too is that, you know, if you have an issue with pronunciation, other people have that same issue. I promise you. No one has a pronunciation issue that has never been seen before in the world. I promise you. So by sending your files, you are not just helping yourself, you are helping lots of other people. You know, these live streams do get viewed, you know, 150, 200, 300 times, you know, over the course of the week. So you're helping people, you know, by sending in your files. Okay. In addition to yourself. You know, this is also a way, you know, pronunciation classes can be super expensive. You know, I try to keep mine affordable, but I get it. Okay. They're not cheap. Okay. If you're looking for cheap options, you know, we have our pronunciation Telegram group, which meets every day, every single day in Telegram. Again, we post a challenge. You can respond with your own audio files, and you get corrections every single day from 2 teachers. Okay. But, you know, if $5 a month is a hardship, this is a great opportunity for you. You know what we're doing here today, because this is free. So if you're looking for some free help, you know, send us an audio file. Okay, Manuel knows that they get in this sing-song pattern. Yeah, I think it's very easy, especially like for common expressions and things like that. So try to fight it where possible. Would be my recommendation. And Riddick again had a last question for us about airflow. Listen to this, then hit up. Did we mention earlier that I do think you get more air through on this? I think we talked about that. I do think air is coming through, but I do think it's a little high, which we mentioned. Hey. That's again sounding tense, so that probably needs a little bit more air to come through. Hey, especially at the very end of your vowel. Same thing here. Go. You actually here you probably need more air at the start. It's like go, but it's more go. You need more air at the very beginning. Go. Pull. And we talked about your dark L sounds as well, kind of blocking off your oh versus you want more air to come through. Okay. How are you? And the big thing there, again, we mentioned is going to be stress related. Okay. Okay, guys, I do have to run and get ready for my next class, but thank you so much for spending part of your Saturday with me. Look, I know when it comes to American English pronunciation, there are literally millions of resources out there. So the fact that you not only spent some time with me, but you spent part of your Saturday with me is super appreciated. Sorry if you hear that tea going on in the background. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me today on the live stream. We will be back next Saturday with another edition of the Schwa Mill, where we take a look at your pronunciation. Be great to see your files. You guys stay safe. Question 2 about Rick. When does upload? It's uploaded now live, and as soon as the stream is over, it'll also be live. So you will always be able to access it on the channel. Okay, we may even take some short little clips from this for use in some other videos and things. But yeah, as always, my name is Jeff. Thank you so much for sending part of your pronunciation files with us. We'll see you in the next edition of the Schwa Mill on Saturday. Have a good day. Have a good night. Have a good afternoon. Thanks to Denny. Thanks to everyone who's sending pronunciation files. You guys take care. We'll see you soon.